This is the Leadership Church.
I want to show you something this morning as I go into my message titled Ransom. I just feel I should just talk about on the theme. Jeremiah 33:11 is where I want to take my text. So, City, you can go off this. For those that want to do further research, you can go and do further research. I could also show you, preach on different historical evidence to show that Jesus died and rose from the dead. For example, with all the archaeological things that they've done, they've not found Jesus' bone. They found John the Baptist's bone. They found other people's bone in Jerusalem, but they've not been able to find his bone. We can go into other evidence to show you that Jesus actually died and rose from the dead. But Jeremiah 31:11 is where I want to speak this morning on. And I want to explain what the word ransom simply means to somebody this morning. For the Lord has what? The Lord has what? Redeemed Jacob and what? Ransomed him from him that is what? Stronger. Are you with me this morning? So we see the word redemption and ransom together. For the Lord has redeemed Jacob and ransomed him. And usually you only talk about ransom or redemption from something that is more powerful than you. You only talk about redemption or the word ransom from somebody that is bigger, stronger. So when David went out, when the lion and the bear took the sheep, you know that if you leave that battle, there is nothing in 1,000 years a sheep cannot deliver itself from the paw of the lion. It's impossible. It needs an external force. In that context, the lion is stronger than the sheep. And so every time you talk about the concept of ransom, it's something that you are bound with. It's something that holds you. That in your own strength, in your own ability, in your own skill, with your own connection, with your own wisdom, you cannot deliver yourself from that person, from him that is stronger than he. He said the Lord has redeemed Jacob and ransomed him. So now what is the difference between redemption and ransom? It's a process. Let me explain this, that the whole process of restoration is called redemption. The whole process of restoration is called redemption. The price that is paid for the redemption of that individual is called what? Ransom. Put it this way, is the difference between marriage and bride price. Bride price is the price that you pay on somebody's head that starts the marriage process. So ransom is the price that is paid for the redemption of our souls. The price that was paid to bring us back, to deliver us, to set us free is called what? The ransom money. The experience after we have been ransomed is called what? Redemption. That's redemption. Redemption is that experience. For the Lord has redeemed Jacob and ransomed him. If you check the New American Standard Version, City, do you have that? The New American Standard Version starts with, for the Lord has what? Ransomed Jacob and what? Redeemed him. Because that ransom has to be paid first before you can't say you are married if the bride price has not been paid. Two of us. You can have a child out of wedlock. You can be living together, but you can't say what? You are married though. What institutes that, what starts that process is that there's a price that has been paid on your head. In that same case, say for the Lord has ransomed Jacob. I want to show you something in Exodus chapter 21. So we know that ransom is the price that is paid for the redemption of an individual. Exodus 21, verse 28. We start from verse 28. If an ox gores a man or a woman to death, then the ox shall surely be stoned, and its flesh shall not be eaten. But the owner of the ox shall be what? Acquitted. 29. And that says, but if the ox tended to thrust with its horn in time past, that means this is a stubborn ox, and it has been made known to the owner. They have warned the owner that this your ox is stubborn, is very difficult to control, and the owner is aware, and he has not kept it confined. He did not pay attention, he did not listen, so that it has killed a man or a woman. He said, the ox shall be what? Stoned, and his owner also shall be what? Put to death. You know why the owner will be put to death? Why would the owner be put to death? Because he was warned. We told you, the first time was a mistake. This time we told you, this your ox is stubborn. You have been warned. You have been warned. He says in this context, there's no mercy for you. The ox will be put to death. The owner also will be put to death. And there's a spiritual lesson here, but let me go to verse 30. I'll come back to the lesson. Verse 30 now says, now, if that man deserves to die, but they decide to impose on him a what? A sum of money. Can I have the KJV? I want to show you something this morning. I have 10 more minutes. The KJV, it says, if there be laid on him the sum of money, then he shall give for what? The ransom of his life, whatsoever is laid upon him. So go back again. This was an ox that killed somebody innocently. He says the owner will be free. But he says if the owner knew, so when God said to man, the day you eat of this fruit, you shall surely die. And Adam took the fruit and ate. Adam knew what he was doing. He said in that context, if the owner knew and the owner did not confine the ox, he says that ox shall be killed and the owner also shall be killed. But if the family now decides and says, okay, we've lost our son, we've lost our daughter, and the judgment upon this man is death. Because if you go to verse 31, he said, whether he have got a son or have got a daughter, according to the judgment shall it be done unto him. So if the family decides that, okay, you've killed our son in this context or our daughter, and you deserve to die, but in this context, we don't want you to die. So we've decided that you should bring, let's assume, a million naira. Let's assume 10 million naira. Now you have an option between what? Dying and raising that money, 10 million naira. Now when you pay that 10 million naira, that 10 million naira releases you from what? From debt. And let's assume that you cannot pay that 10 million naira and somebody comes in your behalf and pays that 10 million naira on your behalf. The person pays it on your behalf and releases you. It means that you should be grateful because every day you live, you need to tell yourself, I could have been what? I could have been dead. That the fact I am alive is simply by the grace and mercy of somebody else. I'm not alive because I deserve to live. I'm alive because number one first, two things happen and you need to get this. Number one first is that the family whose son that you have killed decided to show you mercy. Because if they decided to follow the rule of the law, what should happen to you? Is death. They decided to show you mercy. That's number one. Number two is that you couldn't pay the money in this context, and somebody else decided to show you grace by stepping in on your behalf and paying. And this story is the story of redemption. What happened here is simply redemption. We deserve death. We stood before the judgment of God, and the judgment says death. And God looked at us and said, you've already committed the crime. I've already lost in quotes. Let me show you mercy. But now this is the price for you to pay in terms for you to live, and you cannot afford it. The difference between that family's case is that somebody else stepped in. In redemption, not somebody else stepping in. God himself stepped in and paid the price for our redemption. And you see that it tells us that if we understand the concept of ransom and redemption, that I'm alive today because somebody paid the price. Jesus paid the price for me. It means I should have a sense of gratitude. You know the story, and some of you will know it's Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez is a musician. There was a time she had a kidney problem and couldn't find anybody to donate a kidney for her, and her best friend in quote donated her kidney to Selena Gomez. And after donating the kidney to Selena Gomez, I think she started living a lifestyle that the best friend was a bit angry and annoyed. I gave you my kidney. This was the reason why your first kidney packed up and you've gone into drinking and the rest, and they had a falling out. I gave you my kidney. and they had a falling out. So one day, Selena Gomez was online and started thanking all the people that have helped her to survive. Thanked all everybody, the doctors and everybody, but did not thank the person that gave her the kidney. This is online. This is not. Did not thank the person that gave her the kidney. And when they reminded her, you know what she said? She said, well, she didn't include everybody. And she did not even mention the person who gave the kidney to her. That you are alive today because I gave you my kidney. If I did not give you my kidney, you would not have survived it. And some of us, that's the attitude we have. Jesus gave us his life. But we live our life, we thank every other person else, but the person whose breath, who is the source of our life, we don't say thank you to. So we have this spirit of ingratitude. We're ungrateful. We live our life anyhow. And we forget that he paid what? The price. He paid the price for our salvation. First Peter. When you understand the concept of ransom, then gratitude is what will follow. First Peter and chapter 1, and I'll read verse 17. So this morning, I'm asking you, do you understand the fact that a price was paid on your head? So let's start from verse 18. Knowing that you were not redeemed with corruptible things. Knowing that you were not redeemed with corruptible things like silver or gold. It wasn't money that they paid. If it's money, we can always get money. We were not redeemed with corruptible things like silver or gold from your aimless conduct received by tradition from your fathers. Look at verse 19. But what? But with the precious blood of Christ. The precious. Your redemption cost him his life. Two things I want to ask this morning is that, number one, are you grateful for that? Number two, do you live your life to show that you are grateful? Gratitude is, God, I thank you for giving Jesus for my sake. Then do you live your life to show that you are indeed grateful? That's the thing I want to ask you this morning, and that's my message this morning. Knowing that if this person did not give me her kidney, I would not be alive today. Knowing that if this person did not pay the price, I would have been killed because of my ox was stubborn and the rest. Is that knowledge first? Knowing that I'm alive today because Jesus paid the price. Whether it was April 3, whether it is April 10th, whether it is March 17th, means nothing. That's not important. What is important is that I'm alive today. I could have been killed. I could have died. I'm alive today because Jesus paid the price for my life. That's the first thing. Knowing that you were not redeemed from your aimless conduct. Go back to verse 17. So if he redeemed us from our aimless conduct, and after we are redeemed from your aimless conduct, thank you, from your aimless conduct, if after we are redeemed, we are still living a life of aimlessness, we're still living the life anyhow we want it. You are still drinking, fornicating, committing adultery, and the rest. It simply means that you don't understand what redemption is, or you are not grateful for the price that Jesus paid for your sake, knowing that you were redeemed. And that's the same problem between Selena Gomez and her best friend. And you can check that online. That if I gave you my kidney and sacrificed it, there's certain lifestyle. You shouldn't endanger it. Because although it's in your body, it's actually what? It's actually mine. That was what Paul says in Galatians 2:20, that it is no longer I that live. I understand that somebody paid the price, gave his life in exchange for my soul. Are you here this morning? Praise the Lord, church. Jeremiah again, and I bring this to a close. 31. Father, we thank you. I don't want to go into all the things about redemption and the price and what Jesus did the night he died and the rest. But Jeremiah 31, for the Lord has redeemed Jacob and ransomed him from the hand of one stronger than he. Let me ask you a question. Let's go back to that case of that animal and say, you've killed my son, and your judgment is death. And the family says, sorry, for this redemption, what we need is 50 million. Let's assume there is 50 million. That's what we need. And you say, it's too much. I won't pay it. I won't accept the price. What's the option? It's death too. It's death. Because the family has said that the only deliverance for you, let's assume, let's put 50 million or 10 million. And you can argue it. Why should it be 50 million? Why should it be 20 million? Why? I wouldn't accept it. Okay, it's okay. You don't have to accept it. But understand the consequence of not accepting it. That the consequence of not accepting it is what? Is death. And today, when we tell people that Jesus has paid the price, and they say, no, I don't believe in it, I wouldn't accept it, it's fine. But just know what the consequence of that rejection is. It's eternal damnation. Oh. That's what the consequence is. Jeremiah 31, for the Lord has redeemed Jacob and ransomed him from the hand of one stronger than he. Look at verse 12. It now says, verse 12, therefore, because they understand the fact that they have been redeemed, they shall come and sing in the height of Zion. That's gratitude. They shall come and sing. They are grateful. They understand that. Every other thing streaming to the goodness of the Lord, and every other thing is what God will do in the context of redemption. They shall come and sing. And the singing here is not singing from the flesh. The singing is from a heart of gratitude. A heart that says, God, I'm grateful. I remember who I was, if not for your grace, if not for your mercy. If you didn't send your son to the cross to die on my behalf, I'll be lost eternally. Therefore, they shall come and sing where? In the height of Zion. You can't tell me you are redeemed. And I don't care whether you're a member of this church, because some of you were visited. You can't tell me that you are redeemed and you don't go to church. And you say, no, I don't believe in going to church. You are not redeemed though. No, because there's something about redemption and understanding that a price is paid that will bring you to the house of God. There will not be any excuses. I understand that sometimes, okay, maybe today you are sick or something. But if 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, the last 6 months you've not been to church, and he says, no, Christianity is personal. Therefore, they shall come and sing in the height of Zion. This morning, my time is up because I said 20 minutes, because I know if I put 40 minutes, I could preach for the whole 40 minutes. My question to you this morning is, do you know that a price was paid for your life, for your freedom, for your deliverance? And that price is not silver and gold. That price is Jesus giving his life. You know something there? People who give their kidneys try you. You know, because once you give out one, what if tomorrow something happened to your own? You must truly love that person to want to give out one portion of your kidney. Two of us. You don't give that to an enemy. So if one portion of your kidney takes love, imagine giving your whole life. And what it means. Imagine giving your all. And not just a portion of your kidney, but your whole life in exchange. The question this morning is, are you grateful? Can we bow down our heads to pray?
This is the Leadership Church.